Well, hi there. Take two with Jerry and Debbie, getting set to roll here on a Thursday with Jeff Burson and Rich Jesse and Michael McCall. I believe it was Michael McCall today answering the phone. Did I hear it? Or was it Michael Burt? Okay, Michael McCall answering your calls today. So you get to talk to Michael first. He is on the front lines. I'm Jerry Usher, along with Debbie Georgiani and you and the affiliates. And Debbie, congratulations for, I don't know, being here today, I guess.
You mean on Facebook and YouTube? Hi, guys. I'm a little sleep deprived. Been in the rehab with my mother late evenings, early mornings, and I'll tell you what, it's I need the sleep, Jerry. As you get older, everybody knows you need sleep. So, but I'm back on. So hi, everybody, and I know your chats are going, and that's awesome. But today we have a very interesting topic that I think we can all respond to, have comments about, and all relate to. And the question we are putting out there is: are you genuinely happy when others succeed? So when you say to somebody, congratulations, do you really mean it? Or is there a little part of you that's like, that should have been me. I wish that was me. Why can't that be me? Come on, be honest. Let's have this real discussion. Okay, I'll be the first one to admit. There are times, I mean, especially when you see people doing stuff that it's just, they're not living it's not a judgment or anything, but, you just know their lives and they're not living the best life or the best version of themselves, and things keep happening to them real good, like all these windfalls and stuff. And so there can be that little twinge, like you're like, wait a minute, I'm trying to do everything right. Why can't it happen to me? Did you ever feel that way, Jerry? I mean, I think it's kind of just natural, just because you're trying your hardest and you kind of want God to notice, right?
Well, yeah, I think probably in my younger years, probably in high school, growing up, maybe young adulthood, you kind of have those feelings, but not necessarily as an adult. But I think you're touching on something there. That's one aspect of this. Do you kind of secretly say, gosh, that should have been me, or that could be me, that could have been me, and there's a positive side to that, Debbie. We can take the success of others, we can be truly happy for them, and lavish them with congratulations, and then use that as motivation for ourselves to say, you know what, if they can do it, I can do it. So I'd love to hear from anybody who's had that kind of experience in their lives. So 833-288-EWTN or 833-288-3986.
I love how you said that, because it's kind of like when I see somebody who's lost a large amount of weight, like 50 pounds or 100 pounds. What are you laughing about? Are you trying to tell me I need to lose weight? I know I need to lose weight.
No, I thought you were referring to me.
Oh. Okay, when I say congratulations to you, I was genuinely happy, okay? It's just, it's kind of difficult because men, they can just think about going on a diet and they start to lose weight, okay? Women, typically, it's not that easy, okay? So I was genuinely happy, Jerry, when you lost all that weight. But I agree with you. I think there was a motivation there. There was it inspired me to say, you know what? If Jerry could do it, I could do it.
Anybody can do it.
If he could push it, what do they call you? The king of condiments? You love ketchup, mayonnaise, mustard, hot sauces. I mean, you're like the king of it.
Yeah, but that all had to change when I went on the new regimen. I had to start making my own stuff, which was good. But anyway, we digress, Debbie, I think. Another aspect of this, too, Debbie, is parents, moms and dads. When your children excel or are successful, your congratulations is totally sincere. Talk about that.
Yeah.
Talk about how you are so proud of your kids, and you just want to make sure by offering them congratulations and just surrounding them with kudos that you really do affirm them and you motivate them to go even further in life. So moms and dads, how do you handle that when your kids are successful and you want to offer them your congratulations? How do you do that as a parent? Again, you don't want to overdo it and get them all puffed up and prideful, but you want to make sure that they know that they've accomplished something important. So let's talk about that.
Right. Oh, yeah. As a parent, when you tell your children, congratulations on something, yeah, it's definitely deep from your heart. I mean, that's just, I think I'm safe to say that for pretty much most of the parents out there, because, we just want our kids to succeed. We want our kids to be better than we were. And it's just one of those things you just love when you see your kids succeed. I have to tell you, Jerry, I have a really wonderful, God has blessed me with a wonderful group of friends that have journeyed with me for many, many years. And I have to tell you, I am sincerely happy when things happen to them of good fortune or good nature. I have to say, God has blessed me abundantly with friends that have actually turned into family. And so when they succeed, I feel like I succeed, because we're all in it together. So that's another aspect too, Jerry, that if you feel really close to somebody and things start happening for them in a good way, it's like you're succeeding as well, because we are the body of Christ. We are attached, and we grow very close to other individuals. So I think, and I agree with you, Jerry, as you get older, you mature into this phase where you can really appreciate what others have put work into and have accomplished. When you're younger, there's a little bit of that competition, a little bit of that envy that goes in there. Hey, chalk it up to the high school days. Who knows? But as you're right, as you get older. So let's talk about this, folks. Please share your experience of this, your insights. Maybe you have some ways of looking at things when somebody says congratulations to you. Are you kind of second guessing it, going, well, did they really feel that way, or are they kind of secretly jealous? Who knows? Let's cover this from all angles and see if we can come out with a better understanding of ourselves and the topic that we're discussing today. So you got to call in. If you sit this out and just listen to Jerry and I, well, it might be a little bit of a longer hour for you. 833-288-EWTN. That's 833-288-3986.
Well, we know in life, too, there are those really, healthy competitions like sports, growing up in high school, for example, after a game that you lost. Were you really, truly, was it from your heart that you went and shook hands with the other team and said congratulations on that? Or,
just kidding.
Somebody else got elected class president, you were running and you came in second, or any of life's experiences like that where there's disappointment. We have to really try and dig a little bit deeper to find that real happiness for the person who was awarded something or did win something or took home something. So do you have an experience like that in your life? Maybe you learned a lesson, or what somebody came to you. Maybe it was a surprise to you. Maybe you thought, wow, I got elected, or I won this award, and gosh, my classmate's not going to be happy about this. And all of a sudden he or she comes up and just gives you a big hug and says, congratulations, and you go, wow, you kind of, your defenses drop, your heart melts, and it's just a happy moment. So we can go any direction with this, but we can't go anywhere without you. 833-288-3986. Are you genuinely happy? Congratulate people when they succeed.
So glad you're with us on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We're asking the question today, are you truly happy for others? When you say those words, congratulations, I'm so happy for you, do you really mean it? Or is there something that's you're struggling with internally? And let's talk about that, because we want it. This is a chance for growth. folks. And so we really need your participation on this. So don't sit this out. If you have something to say, now's the time to call in at 833-288-EWTN. Can't make it any easier than that. 833-288-3986. And Jerry, if I may just highlight a show that I just really, really love, Mast Appeal with Colleen Kelly Mast, Saturday mornings 9 Eastern time. And they're gonna be discussing what is making you sad on this feast of Our Lady of Sorrows. How does God transform our sorrow or personal problems? And they're going to take a look at this from a perspective of spiritual growth. And Colleen Kelly Mast does such a great job. The way she speaks to her audience and the calls that come in it's just practical wisdom, Jerry. And I just want our listeners to please make sure. I know Saturdays can be busy for folks, but Saturday mornings, 9 Eastern time, you won't be disappointed.
Indeed. Here's the phone number to join us, 833-288-3986. We have some calls being screened we'll get to in a moment. A couple things, Debbie, I wanted to mention. Johnette Williams mentioned, she announced on her program today, I understand, I didn't hear it, but it was relayed to me that her father, Simon, did pass. He had been in hospice recently, and Johnette had been, keeping a close eye on that, and she and the family had been, trying to be there and take care of him as best they could. So let us all keep Johnette Williams' father in our prayers, who passed away, I believe, this morning. And we asked the Take Two family for prayers for his soul and for Johnette and the entire family, Debbie, because everybody loves Johnette so much, and by extension, if you love Johnette, you love her family, and we loved her dad. So
absolutely, and it's so hard to lose a parent. I don't care what age or what the circumstances are. When you lose a parent, boy, it hits really hard. So yes, please, well, Jerry, on this topic today, can you delve into it a little deeper when you were sharing about this idea of looking at somebody else's success and then seeing as a way to motivate yourself? Can you tap into that just a little more? I think that is excellent, and that's a great life skills angle.
Yeah, if I may, before I do that, Deb, I just wanted to mention something else. Next week, dear friends, dear Take Two family, next week is the annual meeting of the National Conference of Diocesan Vocation Directors. Now, these are the men typically. Priests are usually assigned to be vocation directors. In my diocese, there's a religious sister who handles that, at least as the head person for recruiting vocations. There's a lot of other people involved. But anyway, the annual Vocation Directors Convention, and a lot of lay people get together as well. It's happening, Debbie, in your backyard, actually, in Scottsdale, Arizona. And I ask people to pray for that gathering, and because this year, I'm actually not able to go with Vocation Boom. Nick Scott is going because I had another commitment that I can't get out of. But, Debbie, it's going to be, I think, a very heavy, emotional time. It's going to be a joyous time because these people all love to get together, and they're working for a common cause to recruit men to the priesthood. And a lot of religious sisters and brothers are there as well. So pray for these folks who attend the Vocation Directors Conference next week. And I bring it up also because today, Rose Sullivan, who is the head of the NCDVD, wonderful woman, absolutely beautiful. She's given a son to the priesthood too, by the way. She and the conference have called for today to be a day of prayer and reparation for the recent scandals and all of it. It's the feast of St. Vincent de Paul today, I believe. I got it. No, that's on the 27th. Whose feast day is it today? Somebody help me.
All right, we'll help you. We'll start Googling as you talk. Okay.
Yeah, she's called for a day of prayer and reparation. So I ask everybody, please. I know there are lots of, EWTN has initiatives going on, and parishes do, and individuals and groups. So maybe today, just offer up a special prayer, spend 15 minutes in front of the Blessed Sacrament, skip dessert tonight at dinner. Just do something small for our priests, obviously for the victims, for the perpetrators, but also for those holy, godly, faithful men who are really, really up on the cross with Christ right now as well. So I just wanted to mention that. The NCDVD is having a day of prayer and reparation today. So
okay, I'm showing it St. John Chrysostom. I would never pronounce it.
Yes, St. John Chrysostom. Yeah, that's right.
Yes, I can never pronounce. There you go. Yeah, that's who this feast day is.
All
okay.
right. Well, yeah, and to answer your question,
then,
Debbie,
go ahead.
Well, I could probably speak from personal experience because I was born with club feet. For those who know what that is, your feet are kind of turned in and arched out and bowed a little bit. And I was blessed. My parents got me surgery and braces and some corrective measures. I've seen people walking as adults who were born with club feet and didn't get it treated or corrected, and it's really very, very difficult for them to walk and painful. But I bring that up because I was athletic all of my life, Debbie, but I typically was not as fast as everybody else, couldn't jump as high as everybody else, and so I would not finish first, and I had to congratulate a lot of people, and usually coming in last actually. But it just motivated me. I saw they could do it maybe a little bit better than I could. They had a little bit of an advantage, but it instead of defeating me and discouraging me, it motivated me to want to not be better than them, but to be as good as them. I thought, man, these guys can do that. I can give my all, and I never achieved it, but it didn't stop me from trying. So that's kind of what I was talking about.
That's awesome. I like that. I really like that concept. Yeah, thanks for giving that perspective. I think it's going to really help to shape this conversation. So let's see what our wonderful, devoted Take Two family has to say about this topic. And Carol is first up in Ohio on Annunciation Radio. Hi, Carol. Thank you for waiting, and welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hello. I wanted to tell you that I believe in I'm trying to think how, in the Bible it tells us that do unto others as you would have them do unto yourself. I have always been happy for people when their dreams come true, when they get engaged, they get married, they have their first child. And some people may find it hard to believe for some people because I married 15 years later after all of my family and my friends. And I wanted to be married in the worst way, but I even called off a wedding because I knew it wasn't the right thing. I wasn't going to do what everybody else was doing for that reason. But I was very happy for everybody else, and I thought one day I would like to be where they are. So if there was maybe a jealousy, that's fine because I was working toward it. But I never had envy a day in my life. I've always been thinking, wow, I hope I can get where they are. And so that was always a great motivator for me. So I am always happy for people.
Yeah, it's Carol. That's similar to what Jerry was sharing too, and I think that's a real positive way of looking at things because, if people do not succeed, then what are we striving for? So there has to be those successes that we see around us that can really prompt us to want to stretch ourselves and be the best we can possibly be. And so if you use it from that perspective, and like you said, it doesn't fall into envy or anything of that nature that can be of a sinful nature, then yes, it really is, I think, a wonderful environment to put around you so that you can achieve the things or accomplish the things that you've always wanted to. I think that's a really healthy way, I think anyway, and a very mature way of looking at it. What do you think, Jerry?
Yeah, well, it ties right into an email we just got. You can email us, take2@EWTN.com. Debbie and I see that during the show, and if we don't get to it on the show, we personally answer all of them at some point afterwards. But Jane, who listens in the Northeast, I think in Massachusetts, if I have that right, Jane, correct me if I'm wrong. She says envy equals bad, jealousy equals can be good. And so Jane says, we all know now, life in the kingdom is a life of paradoxes. We might give it more consideration and try harder if we feel called to a similar success as others. Call it inspiring. So that's what Jane has to say about that.
Love it. What do you think, Carol? Did we kind of capture that, what you were trying to share with us?
Absolutely. I think it's part of human nature, but if you let it take over and you don't let God take over your heart, then it can be that envy that you talked about. That's evil. But I strive for the higher road. I always strive for the higher road now. I mean, we all go through hard times in our life, but you find if you go the low road, you'll be with everybody else and miserable. But if you go the high road, you will find, a more positive way of your life, and people want to emulate you then, and then you share it with them why you are, happy and where you are. Say, well, I've always wanted that, but I worked for it, and now I'll show you how to work for it, type thing. So it's all good.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, help raise other people up. Yeah, that's That's a beautiful thing. When we succeed, it should not be one of like, na 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 na. It should be like, hey, let me help you succeed as well. Well, it's Debbie, it's humility.
Is that in
Humility
the
has to be a
dictionary?
part.
Is
Yeah,
na 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 in the
it's in
dictionary?
that slang dictionary, I think. So
The Urban
thank you,
Dictionary.
Carol. Thanks for
Thanks,
joining us. By
Carol.
the way, Debbie,
Yes. Yes.
Jane is a very attentive listener. She was listening to us talking about homemade sauces and stuff, and she said the subject line of her email, it's all about the sauces. And she said, when I started eating vegan, I discovered very quickly it's all about the vegan sauces. Anything can be made gourmet with a great vegan pesto, chipotle mayo, or tikka masala. So thank you, Jane.
I love that.
There you go.
See, it is all about the sauces. There you go. Okay, next up is Kate in Sioux Falls, South Dakota on Real Presence Radio. Hi, Kate. Welcome to Take Two.
Hi, thank you. This is about the fourth time I've called in, so I've been very lucky to be
Welcome
on
back.
your show for so many times. Well, I'm an old actress, so it's kind of fun for me. Anyway, I grew up with a very low self-esteem. I was never as good as anybody. I didn't deserve to have talent or deserve anything. I was depressed. I didn't know I had depression until I was an adult because I just didn't know it was a real thing. But my mother told me, probably 40 years ago, 30 years ago, that I was, I didn't like other people who achieved things that I couldn't because I couldn't do it. My lack of self-esteem didn't allow me to be as good as I could be, and I didn't like telling other people they were good because I wasn't good, and didn't make me happy, and so I either didn't talk to people or I didn't mean what I said or said mean things, and I was never happy. And my mother finally told me that if I could find a way, and she always said, pray, Kathleen. She said, if you could find a way to be honest and tell someone that they're pretty or tell someone they have a nice dress or something that you admire about them, you will be much happier. And Jesus will help you. Mary will help you. My mother always said that to me, and I was an agnostic, and I'd left the church for 40 years, and she was always still telling me these things, and I finally said, okay, and I tried it. And at first it was hard, and it felt false. But the more I said it, and the more I prayed, like she said, the more joy I got out of telling someone how pretty they were, or they could do something, whatever they had done, or they made something, or these sauces. I love these vegan sauces. They sound wonderful. I have to get these recipes. But it just made me want to be a better person and to be more honest about them. And it made me feel so good to be able to be honest about saying what their good things were, and then see the joy and the appreciation on their faces and in their demeanor just added to it, and made me want to be even more honest and more sincere in what I was saying and when I said it. And it just snowballs. And I came back to Catholicism almost 4 years ago, and I have never been happier. And I'm more sincere now than I was even then. And it's just, it never stops. It just keeps growing and growing. And I left my psychologist's office a few minutes ago and talked to one lady there, and they're just these people. I cut my hair, shaved my head for my niece who has cancer. It's come back after a few years, and so we all shaved our heads for her. About 30 people, family and friends, and everyone's telling me I'm beautiful without hair, and I went, I wasn't beautiful with hair.
Wow.
But they're sincere, and I can accept it now, and I can say to other people things, and it's just such a blessing and such a joy to feel this
Right.
way in life instead of the other way.
Okay, so here's a genuine congratulations, Kate, for coming back home to the family. That is awesome. That is
thank
awesome.
you.
But in the
It
words of your mother, when she said, Kathleen, if you get out there and you say these things, it'll just, and like you said, you started to do exactly what your mother said. You started to go out there, you compliment others in a genuine way. It snowballed. It sounds like it helped to build your self-esteem in the bigger scheme of things, and it allowed you to
Yeah.
learn more. Yeah, it allowed you to learn more about yourself, for you to be just a wonderful presence to others, a gift to others by your words, by your compliments. And I think that is so healthy. But that's the thing, Kate. So many folks, they get hurt, or they close up. They go into their cave, if you will, and they're not going to want to go out there and try again with other people. But you did. And that's a beautiful
I did
thing.
I did that for 30 years. I hid in a cave in drugs and alcohol, and it was horrible. And when I was able to stop, I've been clean and sober almost 30 or over 30 years now. And
Awesome.
in those 30 years, I've just grown, and it's just,
Yeah.
prayer really helps. Anyone who has
Absolutely.
trouble with drugs and alcohol, and just try to be more giving to others, and it really helps yourself. You're right.
Right. Get out there, stretch yourself, be out there. Absolutely. Did you say it was your niece that is going through cancer, Kate?
Yes.
Okay, so I put that down in the book. We're going to be praying for your niece, your entire family. So please know that. We love to hear your voice. Okay, so you're welcome to call anytime. And you really have blessed our conversation today. God bless you, Kate. And I just love how you said how your mom called you Kathleen, which is your name. I love that. It's so beautiful. You have a blessed life, and it's great that you blessed ours today. So this is Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, and we're talking about being sincerely honest about saying congratulations to others.
Always nice to have you with us. Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio. The show airs not only at this time, Monday through Friday, but a replay, an encore broadcast at midnight Eastern Time on many, hopefully most, hopefully all of these EWTN affiliates. Thank you, affiliates, for carrying the program. We appreciate that. We hope and pray that it enhances your programming lineup. Talking about congratulating others with sincerity today, and kind of how that makes us feel, what goes on inside of us when we have a chance to do that. And we're going to take you in the order that you called. So we've got our next group of callers, Carol, Marty, and Alicia. So hang on. If you're not next, you will be soon. Carol is up first next in Milwaukee, listening on Sirius XM 130. Hi, Carol. Welcome.
Hi, Jerry. Hi, Debbie. It's Stan Tall Carol. And I wanted
Tall
to say,
Carol.
what a great show.
Thank
Hi,
you.
Carol.
So, hi, Jerry. Hi, Debbie. And it's a very interesting topic. And to me, it calls to mind that when you have a hard time congratulating people, maybe there's a part of you that you haven't taken an inventory on, or you're not mature enough. And so you feel like you haven't got yours in life, and it's just very hard to honestly say to somebody, congratulations, because you do feel a little jealous and left out and all of that. So to me, it's an invitation to, be more mature and, be very sure about what your strengths and weaknesses are. But also never just say something for the sake of saying something, that you mean it, or say it in a way that you say, I'm happy for you, or what an achievement or something like that. So you're not just, spouting words. But so what they say, when you point a finger at someone, there's three pointing back at you, and it's a chance, and Landers at one point said that when you say the Serenity Prayer, you substitute the word maturity for it, and it helps.
Oh, nice. Hey, Carol, let me ask you this. Let's get back to this for a second. When you said not just to spout words, really have some substance behind it, and a real heartfelt deliverance, not just to say something just because you want to, win somebody over, or, be liked or something of that nature. Don't you kind of think, Carol, that people can pick up on that when somebody is really being genuine about what they are saying? I can anyway. Well, I can always tell when somebody is really sincerely happy for me, or when they just are saying it because they feel like they have to say it. What do you think about that?
I don't like to spend time anymore trying to go inside of people's heads, but you can kind of tell by somebody's body language and how they are, how they mean. But I think you always have to allow that people are doing the best they can at the time, and you factor that in too. But and somebody just may be behind you in a line to congratulate you, and then they just say what the next guy's saying or whatever. But then it's on them because they're not sincere, And when I went to my art opening the other night and they announced the winners and I wasn't one of them, the inner child in me had all sorts of things to say, like who's sleeping with who and what's going on
goodness.
here. I mean, there was a little voice in my head that I had an instant reaction, but that I felt rejected or whatever a little bit, but then I always think, well, what's the lesson in this? What's the lesson? So I think that be as sincere as you can, and then it just calls to mind that that you don't feel for another human being when you've been through life and had all these experiences as a human being, and you know what it is for somebody to work hard and achieve something, or have a baby, or take care of family. That, and so it's another accomplishment for the other person in the human race. So
right.
Yeah,
agreed, Carol. Agreed. I think, like you said, it's always our reactions, especially in a situation like this, are always an opportunity for us, like you said, to do. You called it an inventory, to kind of just look within ourselves and. If we are able, like Christ, I think, to see the dignity and the worth and the gifts in other people, there would never be any resentment or any thinking like, gee, that should have been me, or gosh, I really wish they hadn't won, or what have you. So I think you're right, Carol. And thanks be to God, we see examples of this, Debbie. I was over the summer watching, for example, the Little League World Series, and there's just still a purity and an innocence in these young players that, win or lose, they get out there after the game, and it's like they're best friends, and they are offering congratulations to the winning team, and the winning team's offering congratulations to the losing team. The sportsmanship is just really, really terrific. So we do see examples of this, I think, in many circles of life still today, which is very gratifying.
Yeah, I mean, it does give you hope, and that's an awesome thing. I just want to say thanks so much, Carol, for calling in. And Jerry and I, we love your artistic abilities. God has blessed you with so many gifts, and so we appreciate your creative talents. So, and that's coming from our hearts to yours. Yes. So, just wanted to say, Carol, you always bless our day, and thank you so much for just bringing really. Strong insights into how we look at things. It's very important. And you've been through so much in your life, and you have that wisdom and that experience to impart to all of us. So we really very much value that. Thank you.
Okay.
Jerry?
on we go, talking about our
Yeah.
ability to congratulate others when they succeed and really mean it, be sincere about it. Marty in West Virginia, listening on St. Paul Radio. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, Marty. Thanks for joining us.
Hi. Thanks for taking my call. I hope I didn't get off on the wrong tangent here. I thought you were maybe kind of talking about envy a little bit or Schadenfreude.
Yeah, well,
any which way you want to approach it, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, we organically
caller,
unfold here, Marty. So
yeah,
Okay.
The previous caller really had some really great insights, and just this year I started to maybe study this subject of envy and jealousy. I'm not sure if there's a difference or not. I think somebody told me envy has to do with material goods, and jealousy has to do with characteristics of the person. Do you think that's on the mark?
That sounds like something I have heard. Yes, you're envious of what somebody has versus jealous of what they are or do or whatever. I would presume there's probably some overlap. It's probably not totally cut and dry, but I think that is a general distinction that I have heard before anyway. Marty, what about you, Deb?
yeah, I have as well, and also too. I mean, where envy becomes a problem is when it leads us to a sinful thoughts or nature or things that we do, and so then it becomes a real issue. But I think it's very hard sometimes, just in our human condition, not to feel that little twinge of maybe a tiny bit of jealousy. But if it prompts us to respond in a positive way, then we can shift that. If it leads us into where we're having evil thoughts about the other person or anger or resentment or all kinds of things, well then of course then it's very sinful in nature. So that's how I've always distinguished the two. But I'm sure, Jerry, it sounds like it looks like you're looking something up. So why don't you share that?
Well, one that I found online here, it says one might almost say that these two words are used as if they were interchangeable. The words are scarcely synonymous, however. Envy means discontented longing for someone else's advantages.
Right.
And that is precisely what Marty was talking about there. And jealousy means unpleasant suspicion or apprehension of rivalship. So that's one way, at least that I found online.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, it's very close to what you were saying there, Marty, I think. So.
Yeah. I think it's hard, Marty, sometimes. Would you agree with this? Just, I mean, let's face it, okay? Let's look at, for instance, a casino, okay? You're at the two slot machines, okay? And you're sitting down at a slot machine and the person next to you hits the jackpot, okay? Don't you think it's a natural thing to have that tiny little bit of jealousy at the moment going, wait a minute, I could have been sitting right there. That could have been me. I mean, so it's kind of just but what you do with that, I think then that transitions into how serious that plays into your spiritual life. What do you think about that, Marty?
I think there might be two little components there. I recently read a book called The Joy of Pain. It was a secular book about when you see someone, get this windfall. And one of the conclusions, one of the experiment drew was that, particularly in, like the Facebook envy thing, is that people really what they're fearing is missing out on group cohesion. They're missing out having an experience with other people. But I think another flip side to the whole envy thing is the person that is being envious. That's a horrible emotion to feel.
It's detrimental to your spiritual life. Absolutely. You mean envy? Absolutely. But I'm just searching online too, Jerry, and there's a lot of psychology websites too that are talking about that. It's when you feel certain elements of jealousy, you're oftentimes going into an envious nature as well. So that's how quickly it can move into this feeling that either something's going to be taken away from you, or you wish you had something else that somebody had. So there's all these emotions that rise up when somebody else is there's almost like a threat, if you will. And so I think it's really healthy to have that maturity when entering into situations, and to take a step back and recognize the emotions that you're feeling so that you can correct them rather quickly so they don't move into a sinful, envious nature. Does that, Jerry, I was just reading quickly. I was just looking at this psychology website. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it makes sense. And I really think one of the antidotes to any of that envy, jealousy, not being able to fully, with your heart congratulate somebody or be happy for them on their success, an antidote to that is gratitude, being grateful for what we do have. Every one of us is gifted uniquely by God in different ways for different purposes. And we should not be jealous or envious or want what other people have or want to achieve what they have achieved. We should be just beaming with gratitude to God for whatever it is that He has gifted us to be able to achieve. So gratitude, I think, plays a real key part in this as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What do you think, Marty? Do you think we're kind of processing this out a little bit better?
Well, not that you weren't before. I was just kind of unfolding those things. And I think the previous caller also had a really, really good insight. And, I'm 62, and it's like it's taken me so long to become a person who can realize things. A lot of it has to do with, at least in my case, and probably for more people too, is it's related to emotions of loss or loss, yeah, like I'm running out of time or I missed the opportunity to do X, Y, Z, etc. I mean, if you dig really deep, behind the jealousy or envy, like you just said, it had to do with, the acquisition of something or missing out. And so that goes down to grief, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is. It's a very complex situation with many
factors. It's real complex.
It truly is. But, I want to go back real quickly before we let you go. I shared this at a previous show, I think last year, when I was a small child and I went to confession at Catholic school. I grew up all the time, really bothered by the fact that I had naturally curly hair, very, very curly hair, like Shirley Temple type curly hair. And all my friends had straight hair. And I was I can honestly say as a young child, I was probably very jealous that I wanted straight hair. So I went into the confessional, went to confession. The priest said to me, he said, you have to remember something. Everything that you want from something else, somebody's going to want someday that from you. They're going to want something about you, or they're going to admire something about you, or be jealous about something that you have, or you do, or you succeed at. He says, you have to remember that. And then he says, the other thing you have to do is you have to just say, okay, Lord, there's a reason. There's a reason why Karen got straight hair. There's a reason. Karen needed straight hair. That's what she needed. Debbie didn't need straight hair. Okay, so you have to kind of have this, dialogue, if you will, with yourself to understand that not everything's going to happen to you. So you got to get out of that circle, but always realize that other people will be looking at you saying, "Wait a minute, I wish I had curly hair like Debbie." So I mean, I know it's an elementary example, but it really helped me to see things so that I wasn't growing up constantly in this competitive mode to achieve more or be or have more than someone else. So it's really a interesting and complex subject. But Marty, thank you so much for weighing in on this. You really helped us today. Did I make any sense by that confessional? I couldn't even, I couldn't. It's hard to rattle things off real fast.
Well, I guess you can reveal the contents of your own confessions, but nobody else can, especially the priest. So,
well, he's passed away now.
Oh,
anyway.
okay. The secrets are safe then.
Yeah.
Marty, thank you for your contribution. We appreciate that very much. Before we go to Alicia, I just want to mention, Debbie, you haven't been in a casino for a long time, it sounds like.
My mother's was a penny slot machine. She loves slot machines.
The reason I say that, every time
Why?
I go in, which is the only reason I go is usually to go to the buffet. I don't gamble on the machines, but nobody has anyone sitting next to them at the slot machines because they're playing the one in front of them and they're playing the one on either side of them at the same time. Remember? You've seen that before. So,
you mean multiple machines?
Yeah, nobody has anybody sitting next to them at the slot machines because they're
that's
operating
hilarious.
at least 3 at a time. Okay, so just so we get that straight.
Okay.
Alicia is in the beautiful state of Oregon, listening to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on Sacred Heart Radio. Hi, Alicia. Your thoughts on congratulating others sincerely? Hi, Alicia.
Alicia, She
Hi,
said,
my phone sounds like it's cracking up. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, we hear you just fine. Now we can't hear you. You are cracking up a little bit there. Not you,
Okay.
your phone.
Well, I no.
do you think her radio's on in the
I
don't know.
background?
probably cracked up too.
Do you have your radio on, Alicia? That might be what's causing some background noise there.
No, my radio isn't on.
Okay. Well, we can hear
I'll
you
try
now.
calling back. Thank you.
Okay. Alicia's going to call back, and Debbie, that gives me a
Okay.
chance. If you don't mind, I
Yeah,
would
but
like
can I just share one quick thing, because I'm going to forget. I've been practicing it the whole show.
what the lady wants, the lady gets. Go
you.
ahead.
Our Take Two family is just committed on making sure we pronounce things correctly. So phonetically, I got, listen to this, Jerry, 3 times how to say the saint's name of the feast day today. So it's Saint John, let's see, Chrysostom. Is that correct?
Chrysostom, yeah.
Chrysostom. See, I did it. See, but see how our Take Two family just steps up and they say, here, we're going to phonetically send it to you so that you know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, and Chrysostom, if I recall correctly, and somebody might correct me if I'm wrong, it means golden tongue, I think, or golden mouth, golden
Okay,
tongue.
now you're just showing off.
Well,
Okay, go ahead.
I learned it in the seminary. Okay, it's
Okay.
not it's not anything that I, did anything special to uncover that factoid there. But yeah, he was a great orator, a great preacher of the faith. So yeah, let us all pray today to Saint John Chrysostom for his intercession. And I also wanted to mention that one of the ways people can listen to conversations like this and other EWTN programs like Open Line, Call to Communion. You've got, what else? Catholic Answers Live, Women of Grace, Mass, Rosary, all of these. You can do so on the EWTN app. I have it on my phone. So when I am out and about, we don't have an EWTN Catholic station near where I live. So Debbie, like you probably have it on your phone, and we can just flip that thing on and listen to EWTN anywhere in the world, folks, anywhere in the world. This is the great thing about technology. So if you don't have the EWTN app, you know how easy it is to get it. Just go to your Android or iPhone app store, type in EWTN, download it, and you they say EWTN is everywhere, and this is one more way of experiencing that. So
It sure
go
is.
to EWTNapps.com is where you will find that.
Okay, so I've got a little homework assignment for all of us. I think we should all do a little research online on the difference between jealousy and envy. I think it could help us. Also, check out the Catechism of the Catholic Church and see what is talked about there as well. And really just try to pray about it and see how it. Let's take that inventory of our behavior and ourselves to really see how how it's playing into our life. Because, Jerry, would you agree with this? If we can master that, if we can understand what motivates us, what causes us to have these emotions, if we can get past that and really be genuine in our thoughts and in our words, and also challenge ourselves, I mean, there's some real opportunity there, Jerry, for some great spiritual growth. And so I think this would be a great little exercise for all of us to do. I've already looked up, since you were fast going on the internet, I did as well. And man, boy, there's some great stuff about how jealousy and envy intertwine, how it can move into things, how it tells us about ourselves. Fascinating stuff there to learn about. What do you think?
Well, I agree, and I think this ties right into our faith, as you and I try and do with every topic that we present. Sometimes people may think, well, how does that relate to our faith? Well, this is very much closely related to it, because if we are envious or jealous, like you mentioned, you had the curly hair and Karen had the straight hair, and you wish you had the straight hair. When we do that, I'm not saying this about you, Deb, but when we wish we were something that we're not, or that we had something that we don't, like I said, first, I mentioned earlier, it's maybe a lack of gratitude for what we do have, but in a sense, deep down inside, even though we don't mean it this way, it can be a little bit insulting to God. What we're saying is, God, you didn't quite get it right. When you made me, for example, you made me too short and too slow to play college basketball, God.
Right.
Well, God had a little bit of a different plan for my life, you see, so, and then there's also, let's see. I'm looking this up here. So give me just a second. Psalm 37, verse 7.
You're like the king of the internet.
Well, this is on a software program, but I wanted to bring this up before the end of the show too, Debbie. so many times we not only can't congratulate people who are getting away with wrong things, but we sometimes are even a little bit, envious or jealous. We think, wow, they got ahead by cheating a little bit or not by being honest. And that can creep into us a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And so Psalm 37 in verse 7 says, "Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him. Fret not yourself over him who prospers in his way, over the man who carries out evil devices." So there's a warning in the Psalms to make sure that if we see somebody who's, cheating on their taxes or stepping on people to get ahead at the office, or not stuffing a candy bar in their pocket at the store and not paying for it, we, and most of us wouldn't. I don't think we would be jealous or envious of somebody who does something evil or immoral to get ahead, but we certainly are given a warning there that we should not do that. So anyway,
right.
For what that's worth.
The other thing too, Jerry, going back to gratitude, I think if we start off our day with being really grateful for all the things that God has bestowed on us, has given us, has allowed us to experience. Like I look at Carol, Stand Tall Carol, and her great creative abilities that God has blessed her with. I mean, I would love to be able to have those artistic abilities, but I don't. Okay, but Carol does, and so that's she can wake up every morning, all the things that she's grateful for, and we can all do the same. And I think when we start off in that place of gratitude, Jerry, when somebody else comes along in our path and they get something better than us or bigger than us, we're like, wow, way to go, that's awesome, I'm grateful too. So I love that whole aspect of the gratitude, Jerry. I think we should do more shows on that. I think we could tap into that deeper.
Yeah, and Jane, who's still listening, said that example. If I am envious, here's an example. She says, I don't want my neighbor to have that baby that she prayed for. It has nothing to do with me. She said, for example, I'm old, not married, and don't want a baby. So she said, envy, it has nothing to do with me. It's about, not wanting somebody else to have something, I guess. And she said, jealousy can be a competition. So Jane is so wise. Thank you, Jane, for all of your encouragement and prayers. She emails us all the time, which anybody else can do. Take two at EWTN.com.
Yes, and I'll be getting back to folks. I know a lot of people have asked for book resources and stuff like that. It's just I've been super, super busy with my mom in rehab, so please forgive me for that. Just give me a little extra time. I promise I will respond to your emails. And thank you so much for the prayers. My mom is doing really well, Jerry. I'm so excited. She went to physical therapy yesterday and got through the whole entire session, which was the first time. So you never know. We might get her back into a casino someday. You never know. That's probably like her Make-A-Wish or whatever.
Well, I'll tell you what, Debbie, our moms are so much alike. My mother is passed away now. She died at 90. But, I mean, I kind of tongue-in-cheek say she fake died like 2 or 3 times. I mean, she was on a ventilator one time. And all of us kids got together. We were around the country, but got together on the phone. We said, well, her wishes would have been to not be kept artificially alive. So we said, it's painful, but she would have wanted to go. They took the ventilator out. She immediately kind of jumped up and was dancing around the room and said, don't you ever do that to me again.
That's Dorothy.
So, yeah, well, that's like Connie, your mom, too. Yeah. So, anyway.
It's true. I tell you what. But, that just goes to show their strength. I mean, your mom had many children. My mom had many children. I mean, they have a great interior strength. And that's amazing to be able to bounce back, that resiliency. But, Jerry, can I just tap into what we're going to talk about tomorrow? Just a little tease for tomorrow. Tomorrow is, it is Friday. And so a lot of folks are resurrecting the practice of not eating meat on Fridays for the entire year, not just for Lent. And so we want to look into this a little bit more and see what benefits and what graces and blessings that can come out of it. So if you adopt that practice where you abstain from meat on Fridays through the entire year, we want to hear from you, or maybe you're interested in the concept or how it was kind of maybe done away with a little bit, but now it's coming back. It's a very interesting thing to talk about, and I think it could really help us in this time, Jerry, where especially with the church crisis, doing disciplines like that can really be beneficial to all.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason the church has always called upon the faithful to do this, and unfortunately we've gotten away from especially the abstaining from meat on Fridays, because the church gives us the option of doing some other penance. But yeah, we need to take things like this a lot more seriously right now, folks. The times we're living in are very, very urgent. So let us keep that in our minds and on our hearts. So that's tomorrow on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Another good show today. Thanks, everyone, for joining us.
And until then, have a beautiful and blessed day. See you real soon.